warm welcome from my end. For those that I don't know, and I think I haven't met any of you yet, I'm Ray. I'm Startup Program Manager for the DACH region, and I'm the lead on the pitch contest, and I'll be moderating this session. And I first of all want to thank you, all of the jury members that have joined today and have committed to give our very exciting startups that we have today critical questions and maybe also some tips on their way forward. We had many interesting applications from all around the world. So Suena, Miguel, and Leonard, you can be happy that you're part of the finalists. It wasn't an easy choice. A lot of interesting business models. But yeah, so I'll leave the floor to you to introduce yourselves.
Good morning. We are Suena, and Suena means Sustainable Energy Applications, and we are developing an autopilot for energy storages. This autopilot is a software which optimizes the energy storage in combination with renewable energies. And why this autopilot is so important for the energy transition, for this we have to understand how our energy provider earns money. Of course, by selling electricity, and this electricity was produced in the past by conventional power plants. This has a big advantage for the energy provider, but a very big disadvantage for our environment. The advantage here is that it is a controllable power supply, so the energy provider can decide how much energy he wants to produce and to what price he wants to sell it. So he has a kind of plannable revenue. Because of the energy transition, we have an increasing share of renewables, which is very important, but brings a lot of challenges. These are fluctuating power supplies, so it's very difficult to make a forecast how much energy I will produce in the next day or even in the next hours. Also, I have to sell them on the volatile energy markets. For example, when there's a lot of wind, the prices are very low or even negative. And we have to sell to these prices. This, of course, reduces the income for the energy provider and makes the revenue not plannable, which is very bad for a business case. And therefore, of course, the energy provider asks himself how I can make my system more plannable, how I can optimize my system. And for this, we need flexibility in the system. Renewable energies have no flexibility, but storage solutions brings flexibility into the system by decoupling consumption and generation over time. So for example, I can charge a battery when there's a lot of wind, the prices are low, and discharge a battery when the prices are better. But storage solutions are mostly very expensive. And the big question in the market right now is how do I make best use of my storage, which is not very easy. And this is exactly what we do with our autopilot. So we are constantly updating weather, generation, and electricity market price forecast, and we're processing them with a digital twin of the energy storage and the renewable energies. And then we use AI methods to find the optimal operation. Also, we are taking real-time feedback data of the plants to sync the optimization with the reality in each optimization step. And we are observing real-time grid data to comply to grid regulatories. And this increases the income for the energy provider and also makes it plannable again.
All right, let's summarize. So we deliver a financial planning certainty to the energy provider, especially in these uncertain times of the energy transition. Our software is built very modularly, meaning that we can scale up very easily, and for the customer that means a high flexibility. The software is also very automatic, so there's not much need of a high, so there's minimal interaction from the customer needed, reducing the human error and also the total cost of ownership. The market is still very small, as we guessed, and we're starting in Germany, which is already the biggest market in Europe. In the future, we're going to expand to the US American market and the Eastern Asia market, because that's going to be where the biggest markets are located. Currently, we have two projects. The first project is with Bosch and NBW. There we are ready to sign so that we can start in November 2021. It's a project with a wind park here in northern Germany in the combination with the energy storage. We're also talking to another energy provider, STEAG. There we're going to do first some tests in our lab and then implement it in the next year in their solar park with battery storage unit. Currently, we are Exist funded. That's a public fund. We have our first pilot projects, and we're developing our software to market maturity so that in the next year we can really enter the German market. And we look for additional funding so that we can enter the European markets in 2023. And also, obviously, we want to grow to the US American and the Eastern Asian markets in the late 2024 to then achieve our goal of 10% market share by 2029 in that market in that year. Who are we? We have Tom on our side. Tom develops because he's an expert in software development and also AI. We have Leonard. Leonard knows how to sell the product because he knows exactly the problem of the customer and knows how to address them. I deliver because I have the management background and I can do the financials and the organization. All right, and by that, let's sum it up, and we're excited for your questions.
Thank you so much for your pitch. It was very, very good and comprehensive. Definitely a great team behind this. I'm a bit confused as of who are your customers really?
Yeah, our customers are like the energy providers or the operators of renewable energy parks, and or even for just operators of energy storages in a single use or application. But mostly it's now the big need. What we hear is energy providers who are having renewable energies. They needing this flexibility.
What kind of data are you using to forecast and to improve the mix? So could you tell us a little bit more about the data fueling the algorithm?
Yeah, sure. So we call it the MPO. Our method is a model predictive optimization, and the model, the digital twin behind it. This is something which improves by data we are getting from our projects. So there we're using, for example, neural networks to build, for example, to improve the aging model of the battery, which is a very important factor. So we have already an aging model, but it will improve over time. And also, but we're using as input for our software, we're using also forecast data, which we get from the traders or from the energy providers or from others. So it's like feed in forecast data, also production forecast data, price forecast data. This is something where we are not focusing on by ourselves, because there are a lot of companies already doing this and offering this forecast data. So our AI is in the models to make a very good prediction of the behavior of the plants, and also we are using kind of our optimization method. It's a genetic algorithm which is also out of the field. It's a self-developed algorithm, but it's also out of the field of artificial intelligence.
Are you using data about weather, for instance, or market? I mean, how do you integrate external data, not just energy data?
By API. So this is easy because not these days for example the power markets, they're offering even an API for us to integrate this data, or we can just connect to. There are some companies who are offering production data, energy data, so they're mostly using now API, which is also what we are focusing on to connect our software to others.
I have a question regarding your sales cycle. So I'm not sure you have a lot of data on that at the moment, but how long does it take for you to actually identify the right targets, start the conversation, prove them that your solution might be worth it, until you actually get revenues coming in? I guess, my guess, you prove me wrong, right? But my guess is that there's probably still a lot of education to be done around the subject as a whole before you can actually talk about the closing a deal, etc. So can you clarify how long would it be between the first touch point and the revenue coming in, even if it's just proof of concept, but at least what's the lead time for that?
Mm-hmm. So first of all, in our financial projection, we estimate that around 3 months it's going to take to really from the first call to then onboard them. Obviously, in the first time, as you said, there's still some education. There's still, okay, who are these guys and so on. So we do some pilot projects where we really want to show them, okay, listen, this is how it's going to be. This is how it works, and this is how you can maximize your revenue. So we believe after this stage, when we said, okay, and especially if we're in contact with Bosch and BW, so big companies, and if they already trust us in this, then I think it's going to be easier to really then do the 3 months. And of course, in the future, we're going to try to reduce that. And that's where it's going to be like the next stage. So when it's all cloud-based and the onboarding then can be self-made by the customer as well. So they can already implement their own parameters of their power plant and click and play practically their power portfolio together, so that the onboarding would then be reduced. Yeah.
Okay. And just one follow-up question to that. So 3 months is good. I mean, I was thinking longer than that, so it's good if it's 3 months. I'm just how do they react? I'm not an expert in the field, but it seems from your pitch that you have a very clear value proposition for them. How do they react to that when they understand what you're doing? Do they go like, wow, or do they go, okay, let's continue the conversation? Is it an eye opener for them?
Yeah. So actually, yeah, let's put it like this. So we just started, right? I mean, it's obvious that we are still in the beginning, but still at the moment we see some really good vibes coming to us. So they are actually writing on LinkedIn to us, and even the big ones, and saying, okay, this sounds interesting, and let's have a call. So they are already at that stage. So they are coming to us at the moment, and we're not even like going forward for them and doing the sales. So that's already a very good input. And obviously, when we then can really also show them, hey, listen, you're going to make more revenue and you're going to reduce your cost as well. Then they're really interested and so they really want to do the project with us.
And do you have a sales guy who is selling?
Leonard sells as a pitch
for the moment, and maybe the next year or something, and then of course,
yeah. But yeah, currently we're looking for funding to really since we need more people to do that. But obviously, since we are a startup in the beginning, it's going to be me and Leonard and I to do the sales. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe I'll just one last question from my end as well. We're talking, I'm not sure if you have data about it on it, but we're talking a lot about the onboarding side and the sales side. But how quick is like the impact on the customer side that they actually save money, and does that differentiate itself per energy alternative? Like, is there a difference between wind and solar, and also like from also your different customers? So if you're ENW, and then you're talking at energy supply, are there differences there, or is it like a standardized model? And how do you like get your algorithm to notice that, or does it have any differences?
So maybe on the first part, I would say obviously we have some historic data and we can calculate how much would the benefit be for the customer. And then for the first pilot project, it's a wind park of 20 megawatts with a battery storage of 5 megawatt hour. And then we calculated a total benefit of 15%, already including the cost for the battery storage that you need. So I think that was one of your questions. That would be the total.
And it goes very fast. So he starts and directly, of course. So it depends on the application we offer. We have multi-use applications. So if he reduces self-consumption and also into increasing the trading, this, of course, he has, after 1 month, he has already results.
But the 15%, it's once you will have trained your algorithm, or you think it's right from the beginning? Do you have enough data so far to have a performing algorithm?
Yeah, we have data, but of course this is historical data, which we from the university and which I saved, so which we use, and with this, so it's not the trained model. So if we think when we train the model during the process to exact the plans of the customer, that will even increase, and this is also good for our having a little or small churn rate, of course, because our program will be always better and better over time, and the projects are mostly over 10 years or even longer, 15, 20 years. So, and when we're getting better, so it's very good for us for keeping the customer. Yeah.
And it's a one algorithm fits all energy supplies.
Sorry?
Energy storage. It's one algorithm fits all energy storage at the end of the day.
Yeah, depends a bit. Also we are independent from the technology, so this is something really we build up modular because there will be coming a lot of new technologies in the future. But we have our preset models, and for now it's like, okay, there's this lithium, iron, phosphate storage, which is a very often used storage. So, and this model we have an efficiency model for this, we have an aging model for this, and so on. We can just parameterize this, and then of course it will get better over time. And for each technology, we have different models. So, and this will also increase the database of models we have for our digital twin. Yeah.
Welcome everyone. My name is Piotr Niedziela, and I'm leading an amazing startup that helps airlines reduce CO2 emissions and save fuel. So regarding the problem, we live in a challenging times now. Aviation industry is responsible for 2.5% of the global CO2 emissions. And if we put this CO2 into a 1 meter high square, it will be larger than the entire Germany. And these numbers are astonishing, and we need to do something with it right now. So in regards to market need, the whole aviation industry is doing big efforts to reduce the CO2 emissions. From the business perspective, they also need to save fuel, because fuel is the biggest airline cost, so they need to be competitive. So our answer to that needs is airlines fuel efficiency software. So what we do is we take data from the aircraft, we put it into our software, and with artificial intelligence, we optimize over 40 different areas of airlines operations. And with that, they first of all reduce CO2 emissions, save fuel, and increase the profit. How it works in more details. With artificial intelligence, we are able to simulate any flight scenario. So we answer such questions like, is the fuel for the flight planned properly? Or is the flight speed the optimal one? Is flight altitude optimal one? Is when aircraft is, for example, taxiing on the runway, shall he have one engine on or two engines on? Because the fuel burn may differ. So we optimize over 40 such areas of airlines operations, and based on this information, airline later on set fuel policies and set some targets to be achieved. The third step is to involve pilots in this process, and we have dedicated application also for pilots where they can check their score after the flight, and they know on which areas they should improve. And this is the most important point, because pilots are operating the aircraft, so they need to be encouraged in a positive way to be more efficient. And the fourth step is to monitor savings over time. We have many success stories so far. For example, with LOT Polish Airlines, on reduction of on implementation of one initiative only, they saved in the first year of using our solution nearly $2 million, and with that they emitted over 8,000 tons CO2 less to the atmosphere. Going further, this is our current customer base. Besides we are quite young company, we already offer services for airlines that operate on over 100 aircraft. And we do the services in both Europe, both Americas and Middle East. At the moment, we perform trial systems with one of the biggest airlines in the world, from both Asian and with the big focus on Asian and North America market. We are not limited when it comes to aircraft types, so we can analyze the data from any aircraft type. In the market, we have 30,000 aircraft. However, we focus on airlines that have more than 10 aircraft in the fleet. This is more profitable for us. So with such airlines, we have 23,000 aircraft on the market available. And at the moment, we serve 337 aircraft. So we already cover 1.5% of the global aviation market. And going to some numbers, to the summary. In 2020, with our solutions, airlines emitted 58,000 tons less CO2 to the atmosphere. This is the equivalent of 8 million trees that would be needed to absorb this amount of CO2. And in cash, this is $13 million savings. And when it comes to the company, we are based in Poland, in Katowice. In 2020, we have tripled the revenue. The team consists of both active pilots, fuel experts, aircraft engineers, data scientists, and of course, people from business. And we have been granted for now with 4 European Union research grants, and the innovation that we do was classified in all these grants as unknown on the whole market, global.